Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good morning to Professor Hanafi, who is the head of Pusat Inovasi dan Perundingan USM, and also at the National Innovation Hub at USM. And of course, the director for the Academy of Sciences Malaysia Northern Chapter. So thank you very much for saying all the kind words this morning. And also a very good morning to all the attendees today. I was surprised to see so many have decided to join. And so I would like to welcome all of you. I'm now talking from Institute for Research in Molecular Medicine, USM, but in Kubang Krian, Kelantan. And it's a very rainy day today. So I hope things are better with you wherever you are. But we like to share experiences and of course to share my perspective and views on connecting lab to market. And I would like to add on the Malaysian experience because there are international participants. I welcome all of you as well. And let's see whether what I have gone through will probably be able to help more in the future. Okay. Okay, this will be the scope that I'll be covering this morning. Basically, what is the effect of COVID-19, how we're going to build the culture of competitiveness, innovation, and resilience for economic recovery plan. Do we have the same culture in research? Basically, why are we not there yet? Issues and challenges of performing R&D towards commercialization and sharing of the Malaysian experience. Okay. While we are trying to adjust to the VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity that is created by Industry 4.0, we have the COVID-19 pandemic, as you are aware, which has caused an unprecedented global crisis. And fortunate for the government sector, we have an umbrella. We are basically COVID-proof in the sense that salaries still come in despite the control movement order. We still have our salary, but the private sector in the country has no umbrella. Basically, they are not protected at all, and many, of course, suffer from the effect of COVID-19. In fact, 4,500 SMEs in Malaysia had to close from April 1 to July 19, and that's a lot of SMEs that had to close. So if you can remember, if you can now imagine, if there are 10 people in one SME, you're having about 45,000 loss of jobs. But if there are 100 people, we're talking about at least 450,000 loss of jobs, all within a few months. And you see, of course, the industries that is hugely impacted, like the airline and travel and hospitality. We have those that is moderately impacted, the food, beverages, transportation, retail. But the question you want to see here is, what is the industry that is thriving? What is the industry that is surviving the pandemic? So these are like what we call the glove, PPE, sanitizer, mask, okay, that is there, probably here to stay until whenever we have a vaccine. But you see that the health industry continue to thrive, right? But what survived most is the digital services that we now see, like Amazon, Netflix, Zoom. People never heard of Zoom before. Now everybody is Zooming, and except for USM, you're still on Cisco WebEx. But anyway, Google Meet, Microsoft, and what you want to see in Malaysia alone, there's a 20% increase in online shopping and e-commerce that is now happening in the country. So what we are seeing here is that STI, Science, Technology, Innovation-driven industries will thrive and power the future K-based economy. And if you now have a company that does not do R&D or does not use disruptive technologies, that company will shut down. So basically, the message is very clear: change or you will be obliterated, right? And post-COVID, when we talk about building culture of innovation to enhance resilience in the business sector, because the business sector suffered a lot, we are aware that our 98% of our industry is SMEs. And post-COVID, we now find no organization can maintain a competitive edge if innovation is not embedded as part and parcel of their business strategy. As I said just now, change or they will be obliterated. So therefore, the word innovation is no longer an option for the private sector. It is now a necessity. And recently, in the face of uncertainty, Malaysia adapts itself by building business resilience with 77% of business decision makers. That means among the top and SMEs, they are now saying innovation is a must for them to respond quickly to market challenges and opportunities in doing so. And they have learned that when you ask them before to innovate, to do R&D, they're still dragging their feet. But now, due to COVID, suddenly things change and they have to respond. They have to show agile response. And when they did that, they find that it's not as hard as they had anticipated. And with this new confidence, firms in Malaysia now have been rapidly embracing a culture of innovation to ensure business continuity and future relevance. And with Budget 2021, we now find that it continues to address our nation's long-term aspiration to be competitive, to be prosperous, to be sustainable, and of course, to be inclusive. Hear these words, because these are the words that will guide you in the researchers that is now coming in to learn about what is it that you need to move in the future. The word inclusive is a very good word in the sense that it allows you now to do the kind of research that needs to be done. The word sustainable is another word that is a guide now, because customers, everybody is changing. They are now very much aware about climate change, very much aware about sustainability, very much aware in the production process of whatever products that you are now making, which is relevant for today's talk, has got to show sustainability, right? And the other one is that digital technology is now playing a very big role post-COVID-19. And just 2 months of movement control order, we see now 2 years worth of digital transformation happening overnight, right? And overnight, as we are facing in all the universities, schools and universities went on online learning, all right? The blueprint of higher education had already advocated online learning since 2014, since 2015, but most universities are dragging. So now suddenly, now you face it slammed down in front of your face now, you have to do online learning, whether you like it or not. And therefore, digital technology, as we know now, have now allowed suddenly the sharing of information and democratization of knowledge now becomes the new norm. Obviously, I would not be meeting almost 300 of you here today if not for this form of digital webinar. This has now been the new norm, and suddenly now you don't have to pay for conference fees. You can now be reaching out to Vienna, to UK, to US, and learn about a lot of other things that is now happening around the world by just clicking. And this now is the new democratization of knowledge, in the sense that we can now reach out without having to be present physically. And of course, to do that, you need the infrastructure to be there. And I'm quite happy to see that the recent Budget 21, the 1 billion budget under the Industrial Digitalization Transformation Scheme would be the impetus for organizations to adopt new technologies in order to remain competitive. And this is also where the universities can now come in, because once the companies now wants to move to innovation, they need to move to R&D, and this is now where the researchers in the universities would now get in touch with the company, because they will probably need help from us, right? So the question that I want to say here is that, does the research agenda show the same agile response? You see, when you don't have an umbrella, you know you have to survive. You got to do what you got to do. But with the public universities, especially when you are having an umbrella, you are COVID-proof. Do you now have the same agile response that we now need for the country? So the country does not wait for us. The country is now saying, in order to have a post-COVID recovery plan, it needs to now address high-income, high-tech nation. So we're going to see this happening, and this is the Prime Minister saying that the only way for Malaysia to become a high-income nation is to become a high-tech country. And the country's economic growth opportunities can be accelerated through the use of disruptive technology. And history has shown that economic might and world superpowers are highly dependent on the mastery of technology. And he said this during the launching of the National Technology and Innovation Sandbox, which is now facilitating the movement of facilitating innovation in the country. So basically, he's saying we need to build a culture of innovation to enhance competitiveness and resilience that will now make us a high-tech nation. But with all that aspiration, I have to ask this question, right? Have you ever wondered if the ecosystem is in place to drive the innovation economy? We talk about innovation economy, but is the ecosystem in place to drive the innovation economy in Malaysia? So in short, among the innovations developed, is it enough to establish a consolidated industry or industries in Malaysia that has high export value and enhance the GDP of the country? So, and the other thing is that when we are doing research, we are always guided by the national research priorities in the country because that's where the money is, right? And therefore we do the research following the national research priority of the country, and some of us is able to produce novel research discoveries, so we file patents. And the question then is, are the number of patents filed correlating with the value of exports by the country? Or are we doing this in silo again? Or are we just saying, yeah, there are people who excel, there are people who now manage to commercialize, but they're talking about themselves and what they have done. And basically, are these just pockets of excellence that we begin to see, right? And have you ever wondered, what are the issues and why is it that we have not, even if we know these are the issues, why is it that we have not created a systemic change to the ecosystem? So these are the questions, right? And what do we mean by systemic change? Systemic change is improvements needed that are so extensive that they can't be done within the limits of the present system. And therefore, there is a need there now to change the nature of that system. So hopefully, I would like to address the issues that I have posed and its relevancy, especially when you are trying to bring innovation from laboratory to market. See, whenever I give my talks, you have to see the big picture first. Because if you start to give a talk and you say, okay, these are the issues, you still don't see what is the big picture. And the big picture, whether it's helping or facilitating what you are facing when you now want to undergo from the laboratory to the market. So as we all know, to have a successful new economy, you need to see seamless flow from research to development to commercialization to now the setting up of the knowledge-based enterprises. So you need to see this smooth flow, right? And which is the continuous flow from R to D to C to E, right? But reality check is that I'm not sure about the other countries, but I'm sure we are all the same. The status of R&D in Malaysia, we have very big R because, you know, there's always a lot of money for research, smaller D for development, smaller C, and even smaller number of companies that manage to now set up. So the question then is that why are we not there yet? And in RMK 9, the government had targeted 10% of products to be commercialized. But until today, I think KPT has already announced that it's only about 5% from universities that have been commercialized. So why are we not there yet? I think it's a question that have been asked for many, many years, and I'm sure some of you know what are the reasons. The question that I've been asking is that why is there not a systemic change to this aspect? So because of what is happening in the country, this is the latest slide from the Academy that showed what have we to show after 63 years of independence. We have Global Innovation Index. You see this is the top of the iceberg, and of course this is the bottom part, which nobody really tells you. The top of the iceberg, everybody will now tell you the Global Innovation Index is 33 over 131, fantastic. But actually when you look at patents of global innovation, we are number 63 out of 121. If you look at product innovation from us, we are 64 out of 137. But if you look at, are we being the largest exporter in the world doing business, then we are definitely number 26, and the high tech, we are ranked number 1. But basically, if you look at the global value chain of the products that we are producing, we are 53, and the ease of starting business, we are 97. If you look at competitiveness, we are 22 out of 63, not too shabby. But if you look at labor productivity, patent application per capita, we are 44. Startup procedures, 56. If you look at the universities, many the research universities are now in the top 200 in the QS ranking. With 39% high impact papers that we produce. But if you ask the question of wisdom, what have you done with the knowledge that you have created? We are now number 70 out of 131. And basically, in terms of knowledge workers, we are 53 of 131. If you look at all the talents here, we find that research talent is 55. Startup skills, this is where the National Innovation Hub or the Pusat Inovasi has got to now see that the startup skills ability is only 63 of 137. So basically, after 63 years, what can you say? We can say that the country's competitiveness is driven by good talent and infrastructure, but not due to innovation. Not due to innovation. And the innovation capacity and skills, therefore, need to be strengthened in order to move the STI-based enterprises if you want to do this by design. So in short, we say that the country has done a lot of good work, but there is a need to improve product innovation, patent application per capita, knowledge creation, and of course the startup skills. And why is this happening? Because Malaysia invests too little on experimental development to translate R&D outputs to the market. This is fundamental. This is applied. The blue is the applied. The applied is finishing at prototype. But once you finish at prototype, it has to be taken to the next level for commercialization. And this is where the money for commercialization in the country is only 14.6%. This is not by ministry. This is a graph that everybody wants, because this is what Academy of Science have done to collate all the grants available in the country and how is it being allocated. Once you start to see this, you begin to see that if you compare Malaysia to the innovative countries like Korea, Japan, Denmark, Singapore, our next door neighbor, what do we see? We see basic research about 15%, applied research this amount, but a majority are in the green, because this is how they move a country to go into innovation economy. So there's a lot more money invested here. So that now is called Technofund, Innofund, that the Malaysian companies now can be able to license from you. All right. So if we now in the universities produce a lot of patents and all of them are good patents, and you wonder why there's no take-up. There's no take-up because there's only 14.6% available to now be able to move from the prototype to go to this level. I hope you understand this. Huh? So if you look at 14.6, we're just a little bit better than Vietnam, and even Thailand and Cambodia is doing better than us. So what we are saying here is that definitely there is a need to change this. And of course, when we are moving innovation, we need to have the balance between fundamental and applied in order to move translational. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there are a lot of people out there who are saying to me, oh, I'm doing fundamental. How come fundamental? Yes, fundamental is important, applied is important, but also experimental development is also important, because we in the university, we have to do fundamental, we have to do applied, and we have to do translational. 3 things. So that's why we need to see a proper allocation of the funds. So budget 2021, again, ladies and gentlemen, 400 million in terms of R&D has already been approved for budget 2021. And YBKJ has already tweeted to say that at least 50% will now be in experimental development. At least from MOSTI, it will be there. So that now will be the impetus for us to be able now to move innovation as recommended by Academy, because if you can see 14.6% cannot move the innovation economy no matter how good is the patent that you have, right? Then we have this next problem. Why is it at the university we have to do everything? We have to do the fundamental, we have to do the applied, we have to produce the prototype. We also have to now think about how to commercialize. all these things. But if you now compare us to actually Korea, for example, if you go to University of Seoul, their main researchers are doing fundamental because the rest of the applied is done by the companies. And that's why they work very well in that sense. But if you now look at where is Malaysia's researchers, where are they? Business only 21.9 and a whopping 71%, not seen in any other countries in the world. 71% is in the universities. So only 6% is in the government sector. But if you look at Singapore, you know, they have about 50% in the industry, 50% in the university. So now makes sense. You do the fundamental in the universities and you pass it over, and the researchers in the industry now take over and do what they need to be done. And because the technology, in terms of technology, the companies probably have a better technology than us. But what they need is fundamental from us to drive the applied from them. This is how now innovation economy now works. And you see Korea, there's a lot more of the scientists in the industry compared to the one in the university. So you can see the more innovative the country becomes, where are the researchers located? So here is too much. Too many of these researchers are actually located in the university. So what happens? Malaysian R&D is neither industry nor impact driven, because we are not just we are not doing what we are supposed to do if we are in the industry, because in the university you have your KPI, you have your teaching load. These are the kind of things that now becomes a priority to you. And this is why we have to develop the entire value chain for our innovation. This is why the lecturers also get very tired. They have to do their KPI, but at the same time, they also have to do what is the technology platform they need to commercialize. Then even when they license the technology, they still have to work with the companies in order to move the product forward. So, okay, that sounds a bit negative, but let's look at some of the successes. Surely, we have some success after 33 years. Yes, we do. We do have pockets of excellence. So if you want to talk about innovation economy, it's about knowledge content, right? So if you talk about knowledge content, this is a study done by Monash, percentage of innovation versus knowledge content of the industries, right? This is the study done for EPU. And we find now that we have companies after 63 years that are pace sectors. This is very important, especially for USM Penang. You see the EE, he's right here. EE, IT services, automotive, pharmaceuticals. That's why our school of pharmacy is located in Penang. And then food processing, fabricated, even education services. But if you look at the adapters, this is tourism, rubber. But look at the laggards. The laggards are the ones that is very poor in terms of knowledge content. Don't get me wrong, the health service is doing a good job for COVID. But in terms of knowledge content, to move it to the next level, precision medicine or whatever, this is still in the laggard stage. And we now see what is in the laggard, things that is needed by mankind. Food, shelter, clothing. Food, right here. Shelter, right here. Clothing, right here. All in the laggard. Imagine when we have COVID and we have a pandemic, what exactly do we need? We are staying at home. So when we stay at home, food is a necessity. Clothing, we still don't have enough homes, enough good homes. So these are the basic needs, and yet we are not concentrating on these basic needs. We are laggard in this, right? So this is something, and of course, health services. How can we still be in a laggard state? In terms of knowledge content, don't get me wrong, not in terms of service, but in terms of knowledge content. So therefore, we need to move to the next level and ask, how now do we drive the laggard industries? We in academia, how do we drive the laggard industries up the value chain? How do we now incorporate STI-driven technologies into this? Right? I'm trying to tell you all these things because tomorrow's research needs now to be thinking about all this if you are to move in the area of commercialization. Then this is a shocker to me. Basically, this is done under ASM Science Outlook, because our Science Outlook is a flagship for academy where we tell the truth, nothing but the truth. We analyze, we show you the data, it's showing evidence-based. So that now, as a thought leader, we will tell you this is what is happening, do something about it, right? So we ask the question, this is the national priority areas of the country. How much of it is contributing to the patent that is filed in the country? And from this patent, how many actually now contribute to the value export of Malaysia? So if you see this, you find that these are the national priority areas, transport, and energy, water, cyber, medical, food security, biodiversity. So if you look at all these, you see these lines, these are the lines that show patents coming out from this sector. Thank God, the medical sector, there's some line there. Otherwise, I would not be involved in giving you this talk today. But the national priority areas of R&D do not all lead to patent, right? Clear? There are many areas here that do not show patent. This is something that an entity somewhere in the government sector those who monitor grants should now begin to see why they are not producing and what are they doing. Are they doing the right things? Because not many patents are coming out. And they do not lead to enhancing the industries except for biotech. Look, from here, how many is going now to move? So we see now telecommunication is moving to move the EE, and we have biotech that is now moving palm oil. And there's a lot of telecommunication from the industries here that is coming here. But what's important is that what is now moving the industry is not coming from the national priority areas. This is a shocker to me in the sense that telecommunication, this is a lot of telecommunication patent which is coming from the industry, but it's not coming from the national priority area that is actually now moving the top 10 highest value export by Malaysia. So that means patents that enhance industries, especially in telecommunication, are not part of the national R&D areas except for biotech. So biotech, thank God, where I am, so at least you begin to see the connectivity from the what that has been done, and also now to enhance the value export. You compare this to Netherlands. Netherlands, you see that they also have the national priority area. They also have their top 10 highest value exports. And what happened? There's a lot of they also have lines that do not come out from their national, but whatever that comes out is pushing all the industry. So it's very much relevant. Whatever that comes out here is pushing all the industry. So what is happening here is that we need to communicate, or we will continue to see pockets of excellence. So basically what we're trying to say, the ministries need to communicate with each other together with the industry master plan. What is the blueprint in higher education and in education, in other industry master plan needs to be in sync with the higher education, with the Ministry of Science and Technology, all these other ministries as well. So basically we need to communicate, and if we don't do that, if we continue not to collaborate among ministries or and also working in silo, then we will continue to have pockets of excellence as what I've shown you today. So ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, we cannot do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. So therefore, this is time that we need to create a systemic change. And this systemic change, is it RDCE as in enterprise, or this is now RDCI and E as in economics? So this is where now we are showing you how things need to be different. Because when we talk about the collaborative network, we need to bridge the chasm in order to create impact. We have too many outputs at the moment now. It's very much output based. Output, how many papers, how many citations, how many conferences, how many PhD, how many masters. These are all outputs. These are not impact or outcomes, right? So as a result, you see pockets of excellence. You do not see what is happening on the ground. So this is the chasm. We have the generators of knowledge, which is the academia and researchers in the RI. And then you have now the users of the knowledge, the implementer of the knowledge, which is the industry, the government, and the community. If we do not talk to each other, then this chasm continue to exist. Then we are in the world of short scenery. That means we continue to do what we want to do. They continue to get the kind of technology, but from outside. So how can we move the innovation economy in the country when we don't have homegrown technologies that is now driving our industry? So this is what we need to do. So At ASM, we now have been given the mandate to create a neutral entity, just like CREST, as a catalyst to create STI-based industries and using the homegrown technologies. And ladies and gentlemen, I think it's high time that our R&D priority now connect with socio-economic goals. No longer R&D priority and then just looking for outputs. We now need to now be able to show that our R&D can create an impact to the social economy of the country. And how we're going to link that is by having the Malaysian 10-10 My STIE, which is now approved by Cabinet. So this is an idea promoted by Academy of Sciences Malaysia. And basically, these STI priorities are now connected to socio-economic development. So if you ask the question now, what technologies Malaysia will need, will be able to move Malaysia to become a high-income, high-tech nation. So these have been studied by the Academy, and basically these are the world science and technology drivers that we have done: 5G, 6G, sensor, 4D, 5D, advanced material, advanced intelligence system or AI, cybersecurity, augmented reality, and then blockchain. So whoever is not into blockchain, get into blockchain, because blockchain is going to be the world buster next, coming soon. Neurotechnology, and of course those in biotech, you are covered under bioscience technology. But all this technology alone or in combination need now to drive the Malaysian socio-economic driver. You need to be focused now, not simply just doing anything for the sake of anything. Now you have to be focused, because these are the 10 drivers that has now been that will now move the exports of the country in terms of energy, in terms of business, culture, arts, tourism, medical and healthcare. Don't have to worry. Every time medical and healthcare will always be there. Then you have the smart manufacturing. We have the smart cities and transportation, water and food, agriculture, forestry, education, environmental biodiversity. For those to be international, please note, this is the foresight study done by Academy of Science. And basically, this will be the world technology. You're not going to get far off. And majority of the world technology will be digital based. So those of you in computer science, I see Azam there. So if this will be your area now to be able to move. But for Malaysia, this is the socio-economic driver that will move the country. But for Nigeria or for somewhere else in ASEAN, that you may have other socio-economic driver that is more important to Thailand or more important to Indonesia. But because we are in ASEAN, I don't think we are far off in terms of socio-economic drivers for the country. So this entire My 10-10 will now go to RMK 12. So it's better for you. That's why I keep going to the various universities to tell you about this, various ministries. We have now about more than 78 engagement to all ministries, etc., to now be able for them to understand how they can move this framework to move the economy of their country. And basically, these are the 10 niche 30 niche areas for the 10. So each niche, there are about 3 niche area per a socio-economic driver. So for medical, we have digital, precision medicine, and clinical trial. These will be the areas that you need to now think about when you start to move in terms of research that needs to be done. Yeah. So these are the niche areas, and we have even divided the niche area into technologies that will now help in societal well-being, and then technologies that will now move economy, and then of course, if you concentrate on these technology, that will now create the dual impact for society as well as for economy. So the question then is that how do we now, as academics, go about creating impact with our innovation? So now I want to start to go into connecting in the lab. But before I do that, I think I need to remind everybody what is the role of academics in the 21st century, right? We have to generate knowledge. We have to disseminate knowledge. Not enough. We have to now translate knowledge into value creation. That is why Pusat Inovasi is there, in order to be able to help you. All right. And then not enough. We have to now provide solution through real world experience, not solution that is now lab. The solution that is now needed by the community, needed by society, needed by rakyat, needed by global market. This is the kind of solution that we now want to go for. And of course, along the way, become the engine of growth for the nation. via the commercialization of our R&D products. And of course, we also need to train innovators of tomorrow. The curriculum that we are now creating is very important to have the entrepreneurial mindset. That's why the blueprint is saying the development of holistic entrepreneurial balanced graduate. Entrepreneurial, bukan jadi entrepreneur saja, entrepreneurial, right? And we want graduates that are job creators, and of course, graduate that is balanced, that is having values, that cares about humanity. And of course, we need to empower the talents to now become action-oriented leaders. These are the new R&D leaders of tomorrow, those who can deliver solution, not simply solution, but solution that can create sustainability of change. That means this is where knowledge, we need to now be able to move knowledge change happening in the country. And therefore, we are expected to go through this RDCI and E, and for wealth creation, and also if need be, you go for wealth creation and or to help humanity, right? So in performing research towards commercialization, this is now translational. Remember I said you have to disseminate, you have to generate, you have to disseminate, and disseminate knowledge is by teaching graduate students and also by publication. And then, of course, translational to change it to the next level. But you remember two things. When you now start to talk about translational, it's now about two things. Either you bring the innovation to the business enterprise, that means to the industry, or you bring to the society, community by social enterprise. All right. So don't forget that there's two kinds of market that we are talking about. So basically, when you want to do research, perhaps maybe you need to go back to basic, as IBM would say, back to basic. What exactly is the purpose of doing research, right? And we ask ourselves this because we want to enhance innovation and provide solutions that threaten humanity. Wow, fantastic, very good. But most, if not all, researchers are also motivated by the fact that when you do the research, inshallah, it will now make a difference in the world. And to make that difference is not by producing output, it's by producing impact, which is outcome. So therefore, and you have the SDG staring at you in the face, and that one way to create impact is therefore providing solution to SDG. So for a long time, R&I is about ROI. What is the ROI? All right, a return of investment. I think it's high time that we inject research values in the R&I in order to ensure that there is now outcome for wealth creation and for public good. And this is called ROV. So with the My 1010 STIE, we are also moving for return of values, not just ROI, right? And what I mean, learn from COVID, people. COVID-19 has now said to us that at the end of the day, right, we need to put emphasis on people and values. That's bottom line for COVID-19. In fact, we were talking about the fact that at the end of the day, if you want to solve problems for COVID, it's about being a better human being. All right, kita jaga kita. So maybe this is the kind of thinking that we need to have. So it's high time that we move from just output, which is publication, citation, the number of PhD, to now impact or outcomes. And to do that, we need to collaborate and work together in a multidisciplinary or transdisciplinary manner. It has to be this way. Nobody is an island now. You have to collaborate with SDGs in mind by integrating science, technology, humanities, and even religion to provide holistic and dynamic solution for wealth creation and also for humanity. So innovations for wealth creation will help to provide the competitive edge to the local industries, which is the business enterprise, using the homegrown technologies or platform. So a lot of time people are now saying, should I just go to do community engagement and help the community, or should I do for wealth creation? My question is, why can't you do both? That is what is expected of you, to do both. Basically, along the way, if you now create something or technology platform that can now move the industry, you're creating wealth for the country. When you say you create wealth for the country, actually you're providing jobs for the community. You're providing jobs for our people. So you create jobs, and then you create, once the enterprise is set up, you also create new opportunities for new kinds of business that's not happening. And that in essence will creating a healthy economy for the country. Okay, if you go for wealth creation. But you can also, okay, no problem, you can also bring direct benefit to the community, especially the poor and the marginalized, all right, using the innovation that you have created, right? And very fast, a lot of the lecturers are now saying, oh my God, I have to go to the community. Do I have time? I have to do research. I have to do ISO. I have to do graduate supervision. Now you tell me I have to go to the community. Hello, there are already agencies called Koperasi. Koperasi is big throughout Malaysia. Why can't you work with them so that now they become your agent to touch base with the community? And why can't you work with agencies like YIM, Yayasan Inovasi Malaysia? So they can also, they are the people on the ground. I mean, come on, think smart. You don't have to be the one to go into the community. All right. So some of us are built to go into the community, and some of us, stay away from the community because you don't know how to behave, and you don't know how to actually now bring yourself to the community. So maybe it's better that you do what you do best, which is you create the technology platform, you create the innovation, and you work now with the agencies that will actually touch base with the community because they know the community profile better, all right? And of course, the social enterprise group. So this is how you start to do. So at the end of the day, let us work to make higher education a hub in the difference in Malaysia. So basically, you can, of course, questions more left and right. Do we want to move in the ranking? Do we want to be relevant to society? Basically, if you can move in the ranking but still be values driven, when you forget values, this is the problem, right? You go gung-ho on trying to move the ranking without thinking about values. So this is where now, if you're moving into this sector, then provide solutions for urban future environment. And of course, if you now start to move the ranking, you got to think about Q1, Q2. And when you think about Q1, Q2, nobody will give you publication Q1, Q2 if your equipment is not calibrated, and etc., etc. So you have a high budget investment that needs to be there. Maintenance of this equipment is also high budget. But if you now say, okay, I don't have that kind of money, and I say, I just want to be a university that's relevant to society, also can. That means you say you'll be providing solution to elevate some rural technological tradition, or how to make belacan in Sarawak, and then you can improve that maybe, and maybe whatever you do is not good enough for the Q1, Q2, but you can still publish it in a peer-reviewed journal, and you need only just a reasonable budget to do this. But at the end of the day, why can't you be a hybrid? University Science Malaysia, RUs, they definitely have to be a hybrid. Habis cerita to me, I mean, basically, you got to do both so that you are respected, referred, and relevant. These three things must be there. So, of course, you ask the question, do you want impact or do you want impact factor? And my answer is that you got to do both. All right. Of course, in the university, you got to do both. But as a lecturer, if you can do both, that'd be very good. If you cannot do both, then at least try one. But at the end of the day, move to impact, right? So we need to move high tech and high touch, because that is where we need to be values-driven learning with research excellence. Okay, so I borrowed this from Dr. Muhammad Zulkifli Mustafa. He was giving a talk to UIA on community engagement. So thank you, Dr. Zul. I know you are online. Basically, I need to modify Dr. Zul's thinking a little bit to suit with the current situation. Basically, as a lecturer, this is the career path of academics, yeah? As a lecturer of the 21st century, right? If you do research, end game is either community or industry, or both, as I said. So you can do community or you can move industry. And this is when you enter the gate of commercialization. And along the way, you have to have grants, you have to have graduate supervision, you have to have publishing journals, etc. You have to have your prototype done, you have to do field trials, you have patents, etc., etc. And basically, most of us, as Dr. Zul has mentioned, because he's a young lecturer, less than 5 years, because of the KPI that is here, you get tired already, right? And therefore your journey never finish, right? Your journey already stopped here because you're tired. You have grants to do, you have graduate supervision, you have to do all these things, right? Everything you need to do. But remember, for those who survive and went through this, right, you also get tired here. I will share with you, you also will get tired here. So the key word here is perseverance, people. Because if you think that life is going to be easy here, you can forget about it. Life is also not going to be easy here. So everywhere throughout life, nothing is easy. So basically, you need perseverance. You need perseverance. So what I'm going to share with you also is to share with you perseverance, skepticism, all that. You need to overcome all that if you want to move into this value chain. So just a reminder, we are the generator of knowledge. This is the generator of knowledge when we do research, the dissemination of knowledge. We are the graduate students and the journal, and then we need to move to the translation of knowledge, and we have to do this via community. Which, if we do this via community, this is called KIP, Key Intangible Performance, all right, where we do direct benefit to the community. But if we do to the industry, this is part and parcel of KPI. But eventually, even for industry, as I said, it will benefit the economy and it will benefit the community and will create jobs. And hopefully we create job creators who are game changers that can make a difference to the global market as well. So basically, this is the career path for academics. So let me now begin by saying that if you're truly serious, all right, you want to go to the commercialization gate. All right, so I guess that's why you want to hear me today. If you're serious about this, you need to plan experimental design from the beginning. It is not like when you come to Hanafi and then you say, I've got this product and therefore how could I commercialize? Everything must be by design, and it has to be done from the beginning of your research, not after you got the product. Then only you brasan, oh yeah, okay, maybe I need to go to commercialization, and then call Hanafi and then say, and then you get your patent, then you get the technology licensing, and then you say, how come it doesn't move fast enough, or things like that. So the research approach is from Z to A. If you're undergoing research for commercialization, it is from Z to A rather than going A to Z. What I mean by A to Z, A to Z is the normal way, introduction, material, method, research, methodology, and then conclusion, right? So that is A to Z. But from Z to A, you always work with the end in mind. What exactly do you want to do? End game. And then you move backwards, right? So that is from Z to A. So from Z to A, you have to determine what is the final milestone of your research. What do you want to do with it? And what do you want to make? Is it a drug? Is it a vaccine? Is it a diagnostic kit? What do you want? Then you work backwards, right? So what you want to make at the end of the day will be determined by when do you want to see this happening. So do you want to see this commercialization ability during your lifetime, or do you want to see after your lifetime? Now, if I was in the United States, I would be a graduate student to some iconic professor that I might want to continue the work that he has done. So, but let's get real. We are in Malaysia. In Malaysia, you have graduate students. Yes, you love the graduate student. You get bonding very well. But as soon as the graduate student gets a job, he also or she also want to do what he or she wants to do. And even if they're in university, you don't want to be in your shadow. You want them to also fly. So if that's the case, then you have to do everything within your lifetime. That's my advice. So this will then determine, if you now say within your lifetime, so this will then determine the research problem that you want to solve. You don't want to work on a research problem that will take after your lifetime to see a difference, right? So basically, this is how to start the journey by design. First of all, check out what is relevant and seen as priority. Do not work on something that's not a priority in the country, because if you do that, you don't get fund. And you don't see impact, you don't get promoted fast enough, you don't get all this, At the end of the day, it's not about you working to get an award, but bottom line is that you got to be smart. Don't waste your time, to do something that has no impact whatsoever. So then choose the correct. So once you find out what is priority to the country, very important in your life, choose the correct research topic, because this will kill you, people. And you end up having a lot of people, a lot of the lecturers doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, you want to be professor of what? You have to ask this question. You want to be a professor of what? because you want to be able to say, I can profess on this topic. But if you can't profess on the topic, then you know, it's not good enough yet. Nah. So once you decide this is the area you want to now profess in this topic, you deep dive the topic. This is how you start to do it. You write for the grant, you undergo R&D, you seek IP protection, so that you now become a professor that is professing in the area of typhoid, for example. That's what I do. So then you look for investors in terms of know-how and licensing, and then you go through the commercialization gate from the laboratory to industry. Okay, without a guide, it will be a long and bumpy ride. Do not expect that you know, the graph that I showed you just now, from research to go all the way to commercialization, you know, it can be done within a few years. So some people, yes, if they do the correct way. So some people, it may never happen. Some people, it will take a longer time before it happens, right? So this is something you need to understand. So if you ask me, what did I work on? I work on medical, all right, and I work on bioscience, biotech. So bottom line, I work in the area that during my time, hello, I think Chan Kit Lam can remember, during my time, there is no KPI, because this KPI thing is all come when we have research university. The research university is only 2006. During my time, I came back in 1986, you know, so I had a life of, I know what it takes to be promoted. So you take your time. You want to publish faster and get promoted faster, you do it. If you now say, I don't have the kind of grant, and so you get promoted later in life, that's all. But we don't have KPI. And then in 2006, you are all blessed now with KPI, okay, because of the research university coming in, especially for people from USM. So, and so I basically work already on areas that are priority. And for those of you in USM who is in the medical sector, you are always constantly in the area of priority, no matter which RMK, Malaysia plan, doesn't matter. This will always be there. All right. So the question then is, which is the technology? So all this technology, you find that in order to move any of this sector, they need to be in combination. They cannot now be like individual technology and you say, okay, if you are informed, you are good only in biotech and therefore you use only biotech. Yes, you can use biotech to move, but essentially you need to combine with artificial intelligence, or you need to combine with sensor to now create better diagnostics so that now you can move knowledge content of the medical sector. So, you know, a lot of people say, oh, who's my mentor? How do I get the guide to now decide where I want to go? I was very fortunate. My guide is actually a Nobel laureate, Ahmad Zuhail Arwah, Ahmad Zuhail, the last Muslim Nobel laureate. And the question about which topic to work on, you know, it's not often that everybody gets a Nobel laureate to guide your life. There was a closed room session between Academy Fellows and Ahmad Zuhail. He was the science advisor. Tun Mahathir at that time, the Prime Minister, had invited him to be the science advisor for the country. And basically, he had a closed room session with fellows of the Academy. And this is his advice. If we work on research topics that the West is not interested in, we will always be 20 years ahead. But if we work on topics that the West is interested in, we will always be 20 years behind. Basically, I don't know whether many fellows also sit in the same room, but I picked up this line to guide my life. Because when I look at this, to me, he is talking about blue ocean, to boldly go where no one has gone before, to work on research topic that the West is not interested in, like infectious diseases of tropical, because tropical infection has no competitor, because now we can have our time, we can now put in the energy that we want, because the samples that you want to now be able to test run, they are all here in this part of the world. All right. So this to me is a blue strategy to provide solutions to reduce the inequity divide, because this is about shared prosperity vision. This is about new economic plan. This is about what the whole country is about. Basically, how do we reduce the inequity divide? We are talking about inclusivity, right? So that is another niche area. It's called low resource settings, people. That is essentially another blue ocean strategy for you to go into. Again, no competitors. Because when I do this, I said to myself, why not we focus on diseases in Southeast Asia? These are the tropical diseases because, you know, about 750 million people at least on this side of the world. So how can we now ensure that we are in the lead and ahead of our competitor? And how do we make our competitors irrelevant? How can we create an impact to the nation and to society? So basically, I work on typhoid diagnostics, but diagnostic for what? Diagnostic for low resource settings. I did not compete on the creation of diagnostic for people who are rich. These are for people who are poor. To boldly go where no one has gone before. Because when you now go to low resource settings, there is no electricity, there is no equipment. Everybody now don't know what to do because they don't have money. So how now do you move high tech to high touch? Overnight, this has got to be done. So this now created the patents because no one has done it. So basically whatever we are doing now is a gold mine. So this is how we strategize, the typhoid group, how we strategize to move this. So planning the career by design. In 1986, there was a large number of typhoid cases in Kelantan because I came to the medical school. Medical school here is in Kelantan, not in Penang. So I decided to work on typhoid because as far as typhoid is concerned, it's always a competition between Kedah, Kelantan, Sabah and Sarawak. Who's going to be number one this year for typhoid? So basically, I am in a place where it's a gold mine for me to get specimen. I can see the care, I can work with the state health department. I can do a lot of things. So I decided to, at that point in time, it's good to have a dean or to have a ketua jabatan or head of department. They also have a vision about what we need to do. Sometimes when you first come back from overseas, you also need guide. You have the skill of medical biotech, but the thing is you got to work on problem that is relevant to Malaysia. You don't simply say, okay, I come back from US, I work on something US, and you want to bring the same thing back here. So that's why I say focus on something of priority to this country. And working on typhoid, you say, okay, work on typhoid. Typhoid is too big. Which part of typhoid that I want to work on? That I can use my medical biotech knowledge to create an impact during my lifetime. I decided I want to do during my lifetime because no graduate student will now do my work, you know, and basically I also want them to fly. So therefore, you need to plan the career by design in order to be able to create an impact. So if you look at typhoid disease, doesn't matter, like you can copy paste this for any disease that you want. Always there's about pathogenesis, understanding the mechanism, about what, do I want to go treatment? Do I want to do this by vaccine? Or do I want to do this by diagnostics, right? So I decided to concentrate in diagnostics. Why? Because diagnostic has a shorter time to produce the results. At least you can find the biomarker, and then you can now create the technology platform, and now be able to create the product, right? So at least the RDCE can be pursued during my lifetime. So once you decide on the product, you need to determine what is the criteria it must have in order to undergo now research and development. So I decided, like I said, to work on diagnostics and basically, regardless of when you want to see the final product, it must have the following characteristic. In terms of impact, is there a need for the product? Basically, you don't want to be making a product that has only 500 people in a year that get the disease. Hello, you can get the grant on typhoid, get lots of money, and then along the way, create more diagnostic for that 500 cases, you know, amal jariah that you can actually do with the grant. So basically, you want to go for a disease like typhoid, 41 million, 48 million a year. So you know that it is having a market not only in Malaysia, especially in Southeast Asia. So, and if you turn the globe, anything in Latin America, countries around the tropic will all face the same kind of problem. So basically, I have a huge market. All right. And can the need be created? Basically, you can create the need. And does it have worldwide impact? Is it new, innovative, or is it modified? So basically, if you now from T0, when you plan this and you focus now on impact driven, it will result in originality and it will give you technological competitiveness, right? So to create something useful that has global impact, there is a need for you to combine original scientific discoveries with advancements in technology platforms so that you can create product innovation that can use for wealth creation and also enhance the quality of life of people. Basically, in my life, I need to work with fundamental. I also need to work with technology platform, and together combine to create now the innovation. All right, this is what I do. All right. And basically, sales volume, we have no problem, 41 to 48 million cases of typhoid annually, and high volume or demand at national, international, and know the needs of the market and industry. That one, number one, you have to know first. This is what I mean by design. You don't simply go in and then just, decide whatever you want to do. So then the marketability of the product. It's difficult to compete with similar type products. So you need to find out, is the product the criteria that you have designed basically does not compete, has no competitor. That would be even better. So it's easier to market an original product with an anticipated demand, and you can create the niche of the product in some strategic areas and make sure that the product has a competitive price. So to do that, you gotta keep the cost of production low. So that means you say you have to use technology platform that you already know in advance can now reduce the cost of production. All right, so don't be naive. Just because you come back from US, you only know how to do PCR and you think that PCR is the best way. Hello, think again. If you go for low resource settings, you can do PCR, but PCR better not be using equipment that needs electricity. So you have to use another form like enzymes or something that can replicate the DNA and actually do the PCR. So this is the strategic thinking, because along the way, you will be creating now something new. And of course, you'll be able to now patent it, right? The next thing is working from Z to A. So this is the market foresight requirement for rapid diagnostic. Once a diagnostic problem has been chosen, the solution provided must be based on market requirement and must have the following criteria. If you're working on diagnostic, number one, is it sensitive? Obviously, you have to answer that question. Nobody will buy the kit if it's not sensitive. Even worse, is it specific? If it's sensitive, too highly sensitive, but not specific, nobody wants to buy that either. And if possible, let it be rapid with built-in control, simple to perform. This is low resource setting, to be used in Philippines, to be used in Indonesia, to be used in Bangladesh, to be used in anywhere else. Make sure it is simple to perform. And it is economical, and even worse, if you are now talking about low resource setting, obviously there's no cold chain. So you have to be transported without cold chain. This is the thinking that you need to have. What kind of technology platform can now allow this thing to be happening without the need for cold chain? So this is essential for the early and effective management of typhoid. The other thing is that you need to do PCR. But then again, people do PCR using machine. So we have not done PCR using the enzyme. So my question to the graduate students very simple. If it was not done yet, do it. Right? Bahasa Malaysia, untuk buat benda ni. Kata kalau untuk buat, buatkan. That is the whole idea of this. That is originality. Because if you now say, okay, we got to do what people have done before, then you are just a follower. You are not a leader. So if you want to create original product, boldly go to no one has gone before. So this is what this is all about. Yeah. So basically, now you have to write the grant. Yeah. You cannot do it and say, oh, okay, I just need money for this. Yes, but money buy grants, right? So this is something I teach. I think Hanafi knows this. I teach it down the line for all those people who want to defend for product, right? And you're wondering why I'm writing the grant, the same thing as I'm teaching to defend for product to get gold. I'm not talking about product to get silver or bronze. I'm talking about you want a gold, you start to think like this, right? So first of all, what is the current scenario? All right, what is the current scenario on the topic? And what is wrong with the current scenario? This essentially is a problem statement. The same thing you do for grant, the same thing you also do when you defend for the product, right? And what's your solution? What's your solution? Explain your solution. Its principles, description, what kind of features must it have? So this is the product criteria, right? And how do you plan the solution? How do you plan to get the solution? So this is your process, your methodology. Is there a competitor? Better if the solution has no competitor. That means you are working on original discovery. And why is your solution better than others around? Muy importante, very important this one. what is the special criteria that you have that make it so unique that others don't have it, right? So this creates the originality part of it. So the same thinking or concept can be used to write a business plan, as well as even policy papers or books or monograph. These are simple guide, but essentially, if you are a young researcher, even if you are a senior one, and you don't know how to get a gold medal, this is how you do it. And the same thing I use for grants. I mean, I got 14 million out there, and the same thing I use as a business plan proposal, because basically it's like this. The problem with people defending product is they say, oh, I have this typhoid kit and this is what the kit can do and da. And you forgot when you are being examined, when people want to judge you, first thing is what is the current scenario on the topic and what is wrong with the current scenario. That's why they need your solution. Betul tak Hanafi? So when they start to come in, this is the solution, cannot. Same thing with grant. You have to also tell what is the current scenario on the topic. That means you have to do literature research. So basically, this is not in the textbook. This is my guide, right? Basically, this is the strategic thinking from Z to A, okay? So from Z to A, this is the thinking part. This is the writing part. So when you write for the grant, it's like this. But when you think about the grant from Z to A, by design to create the product, this is what you do. Step one, end game. What is the product that you want to make? The product chosen, of course, must have impact, volume, marketability. So I say, okay, diagnostic kit. For what? So again, for what? What is the volume? Basically, if I want to do diagnostic kit, for what disease? So that disease must have local and global impact. That will be better for me, right? And then what kind of criteria? Because now if I say I want to focus on infectious disease that is tropical, that has low resources, that is underdeveloped country, I want to reduce the inequity divide, So basically it has to be rapid, simple, sensitive, specific, economical, and without cold chain. That's what I've been saying before. So what technology to choose? Okay, I am in medical biotech. Obviously, I have a lot of technologies, but is that technology relevant to now create a simple test for low resource setting? To do the fundamental, you can do high tech, but to bring it down to the level of the product, you may need to use low tech. So this is something that you want to think about. And what do you need to make it sensitive or specific? Obviously, I need a specific antigen. And where do I find this specific antigen? Well, outer membrane protein of the bacteria. And how do I find this? And this is where I start to perform fundamental research. Okay, so basically, in writing the grant, the specific objective to find what? To the specific antigen, which is the fundamental. And then you say to develop what? A diagnostic kit using the method of what? And what is the criteria? And then lastly, to say to evaluate. Whenever you do a product, ladies and gentlemen, if you now to find, you gotta do to develop what? End game, you must show evaluation. Otherwise, this grant is not complete. This is one grant. Okay, so this is how I use as a guide. And of course, the scientific discovery was then made. We have the 50 kilodalton, we patented that, and we use the protein to develop, this is the kit, Typhidot, that produce results within 1 hour compared to 2 to 5 days, the conventional method of diagnosing for typhoid. So of course, what's next? Okay, once you have a good product, the science is good, okay, you now apply for patent. And Malaysian patent and international patent, okay? This all depends on your university. This is where you're going to have another perseverance milestone in your life. Whether, first of all, you get to go to the innovation office and whether they take care of you, or whether by the time your things is being processed, your product is blasé in the market. So, this is important to see. And of course, whether the university believe in you. This is now beginning to, regarding what I talk about perseverance. It's not all the time. If you have a good track record, when you start to pitch and you tell about your product, it's easier for people to believe. But if you also have no idea what the hell you're trying to do, this is what I say, it's going to be a long time before you see anything. And of course, when you file, you have to have patience with the Malaysian IP lawyers who are not familiar with biotech or science-based patents. they need to get Australia to come in, so you end up paying a lot more money. So I think the best thing is that to write your own patent. For that, you have to give me nasi goreng or whatnot to teach you how to write. My first patent cost 25,000. Second, after that, all the 14 patents basically is only 5,000 ringgit. So it can be done. We will share later. And of course, when you are doing this, you need the opinion and sanction from the business people. So that's why you go to all this national, international level to attain these gold medals, and why we bring you to the exhibition. All right. And but it's not good enough for the business people to say that as an academic, you need also scientific community or peers to now approve. And this is why I say you have to publish. So you have to publish, because when you publish, there's a lot more belief in your product. That the antigen that you have, that the antigen that you file to say is novel is truly novel. So this is where you start to go in for the National Young Scientist Award, and then all the other awards that I've obtained so far, and of course the publications on the product. So it's just things that you need to do in your life. Okay. Then you want to go through the commercialization gate. To do that, all right, you gotta be able to convince the investor. You have to learn to pitch. A lot of people cannot speak very well, cannot articulate. This is a problem. You gotta learn, man. To do this elevator pitch. Focus. This is where I said my training for writing the grant is good enough for you to do now the pitch as well. So and along the way, in going through the commercialization gate, having a godfather or godmother to champion you is a bonus. All right, so there's a lot of young people who are now in this group who I help along the way to open up, to give you the opportunity. You still have to go through the door, but at least somebody opened the door for you, and somebody give you a lot more opportunities, right? So this is good if you have a godfather or godmother. I was very lucky. I had KJ Ratnam, who is the TNC at that time. I had Tan Sri Musa, who is the VC at that time. And, I was a young Chiku at that time in 1986. I came back at 28 and I got this thing 6 years later. So basically, I wasn't even associate professor yet when I got all this. So basically, they have to believe in me. And I guess, pakai budak terlebih or something, they sort of, because the National Young Scientist Award does help to with the peer review to say that what I'm doing is the right thing. This is something I really don't like to discuss, but it's a fact, Jack. This is skepticism from your own colleagues and your own peers. I mean, I have problem in the medical school itself, because even when I was doing this, a lot of people, during my time, commercialization is not commercialization is a dirty word, because that would mean that I want to create money from knowledge, So there's a lot of thinking at that time. But now, of course, you even have pusat inovasi to make sure you commercialize. And commercialization is a point for your promotion. But not before, not during my time. During my time, commercialization is a dirty word. And of course, KJ Ratnam had also advised me, sell the patent. Because at that time, the competitor is welcome. So there is a need for welcome to buy up so that they don't, because the Vidal test was actually from welcome. So basically they offered me 2 million US to actually buy up the patent, and I decided to say no. Of course, they still was saying, are you okay? Do you have fever? Are you okay? This is 2 million US. Can you calculate 2 million US? I say, yeah, I can calculate 2 million US. But I was confident in my science. I had a team, the Onco High and all that. I was confident in the science, and basically, we think that we can make more out of, instead of just 2 million US, and which we did. So we made at least 4-fold more. So bottom line is that once you undergo technology licensing with a spin-off company, you also need to work closely with that company. And this is where I come to partner with MTDC. So I know you all probably heard this is a venture cap that is meant to commercialize discoveries from local universities. So I was the first client actually for MTDC. MTDC pun baru set up, so I was the first partner. So USM basically was the first partner, and they created NPDR. So, but during that time, you know, we were the first, myself and Professor Jane Cardoza, who is also on the dengue, dot plot. I had the typhi dot, and then she get the dengue dot plot. So both from the same department, microbiology, School of Medicine at USM. And basically, we have different partners, but we do the same. We have to face the same problem, that there is no one in the diagnostic industry that understand what this all about. Everybody in the company were all for business, so we end up coming up with the name typhi dot. We do the business plan, we do the brochure, we do the poster, we design the kit. We designed the kit. At that point in time, I had the graphics to actually come in, graphic USM to actually come in and do the kit, the how to find the bottles, the spec. You know, the bottles must be leak proof, and then to source everything that you see here, even promotion, poster, whatever. But this is the time. And also at the same time, I give scientific conferences and product talks, yeah. So that you talk from the point of the product. And but that is a learning experience that brought out the creativity in me. And that is also the learning experience that turned me from scientist to technopreneur overnight. So if you think that you're going to make money fast by just you know, commercializing, I think you got another thing coming, because this is going to be a long and bumpy ride. And you have to again have perseverance. You don't see the first dollar immediately. You see it much later. And also expect a long learning curve by the company. And basically, fortunate or unfortunate for me, Malaysia does not have enough cases of typhoid per year. So therefore, it doesn't really sell well in Malaysia. But it has a large sale volume in the Philippines, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan. So basically, the company, MBDR, decided to move typhi dot overseas. And basically, I went to all these countries, and business starts to pick up very fast, and typhi dot just went global overnight. So fortunate for me in the sense that typhi dot is sold in US dollar. So meaning to say, the product typhi dot has created the GDP, forex exchange. Yeah? So foreign exchange, and has basically contributed to the GDP of the country. And of course, there's a need for continuity. You need to sustain the product in the marketplace, and R&D must be continuously done to ensure that the product remains technologically competitive. This is where you need to make Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 3. It's not enough to say one flagship, you need to make another one. And to do that, it has to be technologically competitive. And of course, it created Typhi Rapid, which is the dipstick. And this is a fundamental research needs to be done in order to drive the applied research. So that's why I say fundamental, technology platform, and also to create new innovation. And the company also cannot survive with just one flagship. So you have to have more flagship coming out. But basically, with typhi dot alone, we created a lot of patents, created spin-off biodiagnostic companies. Basically, this is a spin-off. This is the company that is created. Of course, typhi dot created more than 500 jobs around the world, not just in Malaysia, 500 jobs around the world, and then supported a lot of local industries. So basically, with the biodiagnostic industry, this is what I mean, it's per new business. Basically, it helps the box, the packaging, the bottle industry, the whole works on typhi dot. And by just having one company, it spur a lot of business around other things that is needed to support the product. And of course, it generated income for the country, generated more than what the university had paid for typhi dot. So it has been commercialized to more than 18 countries around the world. And of course, we won a lot of awards. And of course, typhi dot is a success story by MOSTI. It goes everywhere around the world. MOSTI will say what is the success story, and then has got more than 14 million grants. But basically, it's necessary to make the product to be technologically competitive. And there's a lot of at least 4 kids. But that's not good enough. You need to say now, did it impact the community in Kelantan? Because that's what I was there for in the first place. If I can't make a change in Kelantan, then what the hell am I doing? So bottom line, this is the impact to the Kelantan community. Now, if you know me, probably I don't look like the kind who will go into the kampong, sit with the kampong folks and all that. So I work with the Kelantan State Health Department, because this is where I have a lab that now do the service, that now on call 24 hours to the state of Kelantan, because when they need carriers and whatnot, because by that time we develop also the carrier detection test. So basically now if you come to Kelantan, this is when typhoid starts to happen. This is Kelantan at its highest. Now this is now like this until today. If you come to Kelantan, you no longer worry about typhoid. So basically that is the kind of impact that has been done. But like I said, good is not good enough. What turned me around was my visit to Bragg Village in Bangladesh, and for the first time I faced poverty real time, and basically I see now when we talk about the Apex agenda, Tan Sri Zul had always mentioned about the bottom billion, and basically we have 2 billion rich, 4.7 billion poor. And basically, when I start to go to Bragg Village, there is no electricity. Whatever I'm doing is not going to be relevant at Bragg Village. And they have a lot of typhoid and all that. So that's why I come up with Mark 4 of the product. See, wherever you go, the experience that you have, the experiential learning that you have will change you in terms of mindset, will change you in terms of your passion and your dedication to move. So that's why I say stop playing catching up and turn around the way we do research. This is where I say you need to inject soul into the kind of work that you do, right? So this convinced me the Apex agenda is the correct agenda to help the poor and the marginalized, because nobody championed them. It's not a matter you sit down with them, but it's a matter of what's going to make a difference to the healthcare of all these people if they cannot afford even the test, right? So basically, we concentrate on the research outcome that will reduce now the inequity divide and enhance sustainability, and provide local solution to answer global problems. And of course, have it test run in the community itself. And this is where I now learn to balance impact with impact factor. Right, publication needs to be there, but also to create the kind of impact to the community. And I realized that the poor and marginalized need help. And basically, I cannot do this alone. I need more people who believe in this idea, who believe in the concept that we need to help the poor and the marginalized. We need to bring in inclusivity. We need to champion these people. So that's why I decided that we need more of these leaders who can now provide a sustainable solution for humanity to use. And I was lucky, Tan Sri Zul gave me Inform, the Institute for Research in Molecular Medicine. So I was the founding director and of course made Inform into a HICO within 5 years. But it is a first multidisciplinary cluster-based research institute for development of a translational institute, first in the country, together with UNBI in UKM, for diagnostic technology platform. So this is where now Inform used the same concept that I had to focus on diagnostics of the Southeast Asia for tropical, and we now cover all these tests because now I have more people who believe in the same concept, who now need, and we just created lots and lots of dipstick. As you can see, there's a lot of kits there. And how we do is that we do the criteria for design. There is the scientific discovery, and we make the technology platform. And all of this is patented separately. This is my advice. Do not patent them as one. So Prof. Hanafi is there, but basically for innovasi, the scientific discovery, do not patent together with technology platform. Patent them separately. Scientific discovery lasts for a long time. Technology platform change with the flavor of the day. Today is 5 minutes, tomorrow is 1 minute, so you change the platform. But if you put it together, then when you change it to the 1 minute, it's gone. So that's why it's better for you to separately patent, and you get patents for all this technology platform as well. All right, and basically, when we start to do deep state, I had to invest only 250,000 people, 250,000 to buy all this equipment And all the tests that you see for all the diseases run on this 250,000 investment. So it was worth it. Until today, we still have this machine. And everybody was impressed because we can show you to create the dipstick on the fly. So that we can even do a manufacturing, the whole works, now how it's packaged and everything is all done here. And it also done in Inform in Penang. We duplicate that. So basically, we have the various tests from me, from Professor Rahma for the Brugia. So all these are original discoveries that basically were commercialized. We have the DNA group, we have the protein group. You see, by doing it together, we create more, because that's how you create more flagship products and bring it out into the market and helping the people of the poor. So it became the mantra for Inform to be able to produce this, and that is why it became a haiku as well. And of course, at the end of the day, Inform was given as the first institute to get the IDB award for science and technology for development of sustainable diagnostic for developing and underdeveloped countries with a USD of 100,000. So this is some of the achievements that we have so far. So ladies and gentlemen, my last slide to say, in life, it would be good that we do good things, but we need to move to great things. But now we are living in the world where great is no longer good enough. Okay, so we need to go beyond great. And therefore, we need to now do values internalized, be flexible, adaptable, agile, respond to change. We need to be comfortable with change. And basically, we need to go beyond great. And that is to be a nation builder that is a game changer. It's not enough just to be a talented researcher that has high citation, high publication. You need to be going beyond great. And this is my message: to be a nation builder that is a game changer. And hopefully what I'm trying to say and share with you is that success is not counted by how high you have climbed, but by how many people that you have brought with you. So I end by saying thank you to members of the typhoid cluster that has made all this possible. So thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And also I wish you all the best in your endeavor to move from the laboratory to the market. Thank you, Prof. Hanafi. Back to you.